Info Moogles, it's the Swans27 here, and we're 3/4 of the way done with the Kefka Grand Prix Deluxe event, so let's review all of the racing action from this past week, as this is setting up to be quite the finish to the main heat of the event. Remember, we're paddling down the Lete River Rally this week with an unusual 8 characters, 8 Espers Kefka unlock, a 4 character start including Bannon, aka Strego with health, a Kefka Tower skip that includes the namesake check as well as 12 bosses. We're not going to get any free characters or Espers, and no Ultima either. The Chocobo class siege started with Blitz Terra, Jump Lock, and Tools Edgar to accompany Strego dressed as Bannon, and this meant that we had access to 3 free checks with a Cat Hood or Thunder Shield choice in the Norse Weapon Shop, although with Terra, it didn't matter much since you had access to the other one, an Illumina on the Figaro Throne, and a Snow Muffler at the Sealed Gate Cave to go along with a huge Imperial base haul of 3 Elemental Shields and an Experience Egg to pair with an Atma weapon that we looted from the cave itself, so our build options were plenty. Terra also meant having access to the Lete River check required for Kefka Tower skip, and heading there right away to defeat Air Force gave to Rando with the Mute spell and a Strength +2 bonus. Going to the Tunnel Armor check had Kieran with Fire 3 and Flare for more offensive magic builds. Going for more levels in the Burning House was a Lore Shadow in this vanilla behavior saving the day, which was actually the only path through this seed, so if you went here early, you were in much better position than those that left it for later. Floating Continent had 3 Espers and 4 bosses, which is great for getting that other half of the Kefka Tower skip. Those that dove into the Phoenix Cave can also nab an Experience Egg from a chest, Fixed Dice from the White Dragon drop, and Raiden at the end. And then continuing on with non-peekable checks, Epics Rock had Shiva. With 7 Espers already, it was a welcome sign to see Cyan at Mobliz. However, Magi Master needed to be blasted down with Flare or a damage-ignoring weapon. Cyan's checks granted Bahamut at Doma Siege, which taught Merton that was great for our already protected party. However, it would not help against Tritok guarding Sabin at the Velt Cave. After peeking a few checks for our 8th character, we finally got Umaro on the Phantom Train. We could have gotten Mog from Kefka at Narsh, but his line was a dead end for characters, as I mentioned earlier, with the Burning House being required. Kefka's Tower had some rude bosses with Doomgaze and Doom in the middle path, so Magi Master wasn't the only hurdle in terms of fights in this seed. However, with Instant Death, Mute, and Light 3 for Calmness protection, along with an Atma weapon, Illumina, Bum Rush, Merton, a Boots and Horn combo from various relic shops that we've stopped at, there was more than enough to kill off Kefka quite easily. The real battle, however, was sorting out all the carnage in the race room, as originally Saberwolf's 129.09 came in first, Maugre's 129.34 was second, and Shadow Sid's 132.05 was in third. But spells are flying all around the track. Maugre cast Haste, but was nullified with Sealing Cat casting Quarter, but this most affected Saberwolf, who lost 60 seconds without casting a spell to make up for it. Shadow Sid also lost 30 seconds to that spell, but his Haste 2 gave him a net 2-minute and 30-second break. After all of the hashtag quick maths, Maugre ended up in first place with an adjusted time of 129.34, and Shadow Sid was tapping him on the shoulder with a photo finish 129.35 adjusted time just 1 second later, and Saberwolf unfortunately got knocked out of the gold medal spot into the bronze third place with a 130.09 adjusted time. The chaos wasn't over with yet, as both Bubbaski and Hefe casted haste spells to shave off their time, finishing originally in 5th and 6th place, with Outlaw Star originally in 4th. Getting hit by the fallout of that 30-second quarter cast meant more jumbled, clustered times, with Bubbaski in 4th with 133.04, Hefe in 5th with 133.42, and Outlaw Star 5 seconds later with 133.47's adjusted time in 6th place. Thanks a lot, Sealing Cat. The Blackjack class starting party also had Terra and Locke, this time with Jump on her and Sketch on him, with Go-Go to grab any of those commands for their menu. The free checks gave us a Snow Muffler and Behemoth suit at Narsh Weapon Shop and behind Welk, a Genji Glove at the Sealed Gate Cave, but again the Imperial base is the MVP of looting, with a Valiant Knife, another Genji Glove, and the Classroom delivered an Experience Egg in that second room. Those unfortunately flying in the World of Ruin were treated to a vanilla Doomgaze fight if snatched out of the air. If you actually made it to Triangle Island, you were rewarded with GP Rain Celeste at the end of Zone Eater. The South Figaro Prisoner free check gave us Force Armor, so we were good with defense for the seed. Offerings were for sale at the World of Balance Tizen Relic Shop to pair with that Valiant Knife, and the Tizen Thief was selling an 11,000 GP Shiva. Early access to Terra meant another trip on the Lete River, however this one was slightly more dangerous with the AoE attacks of the Pluto armors, and yet another Air Force boss, like in the Chocobo seed at the end, guarding the Odin Esper, also having a Strength +2 bonus. Opera House Disruption had the upgraded version of the previous reward, Raiden. The Welk reward was a Dragon Horn, which you could use with Terra, but she didn't have a great weapon for jump unless she found a Merit Award. Magitech Factory also went 3 for 3 with Espers, and a mean minecart ride with Enoch ×3 encounters, and a spicy chicken as the first of the two bosses, so Celestis checks were a character dead end. Zozo Tower and South Figaro Cave both gave shiny stones, so now we were on the hunt for characters, and Edgar was aimlessly wandering at the bottom of Fanatic's Tower with another offering from the Blue Dragon halfway up, and an Aura Lance that Terra couldn't use, but Gogo could if you gave them the jump command at the top. Peeking our newest characters checks revealed an NPC on the way to the engine room, which we did get later with Tritalk, and we kept doing Stragos checks with Ebbets Rock giving Kieran, but thankfully Gao was at the ancient castle, so it wasn't a wasted trip if you went all the way down there. Our Kefka Tower unlocked with Sabin, fighting monsters on the Veldt, and in Ensign Wesley's case, running away after being hit by a Valiant Knife attack from a muddled user. The Blackjack Seeds Kefka Tower bosses were also tough with Haydn on the left, Atma at Guardian, and Ifrit Shiva on the right if you didn't have the correct build for this, since we had Valiant Knife offering, which would have been fine, but if you didn't learn Ice or Fire 3 from one of the Espers, then you'd be scrambling for an answer here, as well as a potential jump horn user with Aura Lance. The final fight, however, had all of the pieces for a fairly easy fight with 2 instant death Esper summons, Mute, and Life 3 for calmness protection. Ensign Wesley grabbed the top spot with an original 121.03 that was then changed to a 118.03 after a haste 2 cast, and Physics Shebang was on the wrong end of Slow, who dropped from 3rd place down to 5th place, as Papa Shango in 2nd was 127.39, Jesus the Frog in 3rd at 128.06, Narves in 4th with 128.44, and 4 seconds later was Physics Shebang's adjusted time of 128.48. The real chattiest finally picked up his first points of the event in 8th place this week, so I'm curious to see what he does with his 62 MP for the last 2 weeks of the event. The Falcon Cart class also had lock with Sketch, but our other 2 party members we hadn't seen much of, with Slot Natural Magic Shadow and Rage Cyan, with some good starting ones including Io for Flare Star, Carcass for Bolt 3, Toe Cutter for Shrapnel. Our free checks, Gal Manor was an Ice Shield, a choice of a Ragnarok or Valiant Knife in the Narsh Weapon Shop, which would have been made much easier had you gone to the South Figaro basement first, where an offering was in a chest as well as an experience egg, and there's even a second egg in the Returner's hideout. There is also a Valiant Knife at the end of the Mount Zozo free check with the Ice Dragon giving yet another experience egg. This meant we really didn't have to worry about nabbing the 20k GP Phantom at Tizen Thief, increasing our scaling. Gigantos took his rightful place back in the Classroom Monster in a Box after 4 weeks on, then being off last week, so that's 5 out of 6 seeds for the Falcon Card class, where Gigantos was right there at the start. South Figaro Cave and Ifrit with a Magic Power +2 bonus for both Bannon and Shadow to use, since Shadow learned some really good spells including Ice 3 just by getting levels. Heading up to the Floating Continent was a lot of running from level magic encounters and having to get through tentacles with potentially low HP if you went here first, but Vanilla Tools Edgar was our first reward of this 3-part check, with the other 2 granting Espers. The Figaro Throne was a Flame Shield, and Edgar's full loop had Shiva and Dance Realm to replace Cyan if you didn't pick up the Ragnarok for him, and we got an Edgar build with an Atma weapon from the Skull Dragon in Ancient Castle. We dug Terra out of Esper Mountain, so that gave us access to the Lete River for Kefka Tower Skip, at the cost of fighting Goddess at the end for Raiden. This also meant we could hit up the Welk check for Bismarck and that other weapon option we didn't pick earlier. Cyan's Dream gave Double Down his go mode with 2 Espers and Sabin like in the Blackjack seed. For other characters, Umara was in the Phoenix Cave with a Minerva drop from the Dirt Dragon, Gao is at the bottom of Fanatic's Tower with Gogo on the Veldt, and Mog could be found in Ebbets Rock, but none of Sabin's checks led to other characters, so things got pretty linear if you didn't do the Floating Continent and ignored Strago's checks. Another seed with Doom in the middle lane and Kefka's Tower and Haydn on the side meant that we may have had to shuffle some equipment around, as party composition was mostly the VK offering carrying things, with another character potentially using Ragnarok Rocker Atma weapon, and most characters supporting with good spells on Espers we found or Shadow's natural magic. But the most important thing from the seed was all of the levels we got from potentially 3 different experience eggs near the start of the seed. Siren and Golem from Doma Dream, along with instant death for a very fast Kefka fight, and there was more chaos happening from spellcasts in this card class as well. Honeydew's 111.45 was in first place in the clubhouse until being hit by a Bolt 3 to bring his adjusted time to 112.45, and Double Down's Haste 2 spell was able to help bring his adjusted time down to 111.28 from 113.28, which meant a first place magic change. Both Knuckly Kong and Judge Joe casted quick to great effect, shaving off over 8 minutes each from their original times after some other spells like Nobody Wars Fire 3 allowed them to get into 5th and 6th in the points respectively, taking them away from Golden Shocker, who was originally in 5th, and moved down to 7th place. Checking out the overall standings, we did have some movement in the top 10, and the cutoff for the playoffs is now at 40 points with only 2 tracks left to go. Remember, your MP is reset for the 2-week finals, so get your spell usage out before those magic points vanish on you. Next week's race is the Serpent Trench run, which is back to the old school 7 characters, 10 Esper unlock, and a Gauss start, almost guaranteeing a Kefka Tower skip. It's a barter seed with 5,000 GP per item and a 60,000 GP purse to start, but no toys or eggs or Illuminas in shops. Equipment pool has also been increased, and shops will be more random than normal, so go and visit some towns for the goods in this upcoming week. That'll do it for this recap. I've been the Schwantz27. Until next time.